لا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد. والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين المنتخبين، الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. ورحمة الله على أحبابهم وأصحابهم وشيعتهم ومواليهم أجمعين، واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم وظالميهم ملعونين من يوم عداوتهم وظلمهم إلى أبد الآبدين. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your presence in the Majlis of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Today we have gathered here to commemorate the days of Arbaeen, and especially today the martyrdom of our 8th Imam, Imam Ali ibn Raza, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Imam Raza was born in the year 148 of Hijrah, and he stayed under the imamate of his father, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, for 35 years. And after the martyrdom of Imam al-Kazmi, he stayed alive for 20 more years. And the year of his martyrdom is 203 Hijrah. We see that he saw many rulers of Banu Abbas. In his time, the first ruler, Abu Abbas Safar, was gone. He was not there. When he was born at that time, Mansur Dawaniqi was there. And then after that, Mahdi, and then Hadi, and then Harun, and then Mamun. All these rulers came. So he saw all these rulers in his time, and Mamun was the last one who poisoned Imam, as a result of which he passed away. So the reason of his martyrdom is Mamun al-Rashid, the son of Harun al-Rashid. So today we will briefly touch the subject of heir apparency offered by Mamun al-Rashid to Imam al-Raza. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. There are many speculations from other sects as to why Mamun al-Rashid would offer this heir apparent, he make Imam Raza his heir. Some say that he was prone to Shia teachings. Some say that he himself was a Shia. Some say that he had to deal with the people of Khurasan, and Fadl ibn Sahl, who was from Khurasan and his close advisor, he must have suggested that if you want the people of Khurasan to not give you any problems, you should make Imam Raza, Ali al-Raza, your heir, and this will calm things down. So there are many speculations from the other side. What are the true causes is what inshallah we will try and list in today's speech. We might not be able to list all of them, but we'll try. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. We see throughout these tyrants who lived, whether they were from Banu Umayyah or Banu Abbas, they tried different approach to oppose Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salatu wassalam. You see at the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Amir al-Sham, fought a battle with Amir al-Mu'mineen. But his approach changed when the time of Imam al-Hasan comes. He tries to make a deal with Imam al-Hasan. And then the approach changes again at the time of Yazid. Yazid tries to get allegiance from Imam al-Hussein. The same tyrant was alive when Imam Zain al-Abidin became Imam. He did not ask allegiance from Imam Zain al-Abidin. And then these tyrants go on, and then Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, in their time the approach was different. Banu Umayyah were fighting with Banu Abbas at that time, and this gave more opportunities to Imam al-Baqir, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, alayhima afdal as-salatu was-salam, to spread the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Then we see at the time of Imam al-Kadhim, the approach changes yet again, and we see that Imam al-Kadhim is either being put under house arrest or he is imprisoned. And then comes the time for Imam al-Raza, and all of a sudden the same regime, Abbasi regime, was being cruel to Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salatu wassalam. The chain of these tyrants were being very cruel, and now all of a sudden very kind towards Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salatu wassalam, and now they want to offer them a place next to the Khalifa. So we see that their behavior changes, which means that they try everything possible to oppose Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salatu wassalam and make the names of Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salatu wassalam disappear from the minds of people and the hearts of people. So every time they would come up with a new strategy, and then Ahlul Bayt, the Imams and Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salatu wassalam would oppose that or deal with that in their own way and always be victorious. Whatever the mission was for Imam al-Hussein, we sitting here after 14th centuries tells us clearly that he succeeded. Whatever was the mission of Imam Zain al-Abidin, he was under great amount of oppression at that time, but in the form of Sahifa as-Sajjadiyya, and the way he was with the people. For 35 years he lived amongst these people as an Imam, and he did great work. And then we see Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, with all the troubles that they had, he continued with his teachings, and these two Imams gave us 4,000 students. When I say students, I don't mean prep students who are learning how to say ABC. No, these students, when I say students, all of them were PhD students, researchers. Imagine having a supervisor in the universities. One supervisor can supervise one research department. So if there is a researcher who is doing PhD, one person can, because he has that one subject that he's dealing with. Anything other than that, he will not touch it. Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq was teaching these 4,000 students different things on a PhD level. On a PhD level. Great work. There were many hindrances, many difficulties. There was a time when students were charged 1 dirham. If you want to go to the dars of Ja'far al-Sadiq, you need to pay 1 dirham. But people would overcome these difficulties. Because on the other side, there was one person appointed by the government to give his own dars. And then it was promoted that if you go into that dars, the government will give you 1 dirham. So the students of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, being of great intellect, would go there first, get 1 dirham, come here, pay that dirham, and go to the dars of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq. So we see that there were many difficulties, but Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salatu wassalam always found a way to get the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam through to the people. Always. He would get those teachings through to the people. So we see that this is now new difficulty. First, he comes to Imam al-Raza. He says, I am handing this Khilafah over to you. It is your right, and rightfully it is yours, and you should have it. And Imam says, do you own the right of Khilafah yourself? No, I don't. If Allah has not given you the Khilafah, then you don't get to make any decision regarding the Khilafah. He should be the one who should make the decision of Khilafah. Who are you to give this Khilafah away? And if you are a true Khalifa, and Allah has appointed you as a Khalifa, then you have no right to give it away. It is your responsibility to see this mission through. You cannot give it away. And then he threatens Imam, and whatever way he forces Imam to accept the heir apparency, become the heir of Ma'mun al-Rashid. What were the reasons? First, he saw all this happening in the history of Imams, that they always can find a way to get the teachings through. So now this time he wanted Imam al-Raza salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi to be close to him. So bringing Imam close to him, keeping Imam under close surveillance, and keeping close tabs, and securing his surroundings so the people don't get through, and his teachings are not then spread easily, which is the second reason as well. That he did not want Imam to have any social ties which did not work out at all. And the second, he did not want Imam to spread his teachings. So he wanted to cut off public access, which did not work out as well. As we see in Nishapur, there is the thousands of people are waiting for Imam, and there are 20,000 narrators for that hadith where Imam says, Kalimatu la ilaha illallah hisni. وَمَنْ دَخَلَ حِسْنِي أَمِنَ مِنْ عَذَابِي وَلَكِنْ شَرْطِهَا بِشُرُوطِهَا. This is the hadith of Nishapur. This is Imam talking to public. There's no way to cut off the public relation for Imam. Secondly, he reaches Tus. When he reaches Tus, he finds that most of the people, their profession is they carve stones. They carve stones. And he found that the stones were very hard. And it was very difficult for people to go on and pursue their profession. So he made the dua, and the stones become soft enough for them to continue their profession in a successful manner. Read aloud salawat. So this is another reason for people to come close to Imam Raza. At one point in his journey towards Khurasan, they run out of water, and he hits the ground at some place, and water comes out of the ground, and everybody drinks that water and quenches their thirst and collect enough water to reach Khurasan. So these things happen, the social ties and public access. No matter how hard he tried, he was not successful. The third thing, that's the sentiments that arose among the public due to the martyrdom of Imam Musa Kazmi. He wanted that feeling to be cured in the people. People were very, very distraught how Imam al-Kazmi was martyred, and this had created some unrest among the people. So to cure that, he wanted Imam al-Raza to be on his side. The fourth is that Imam al-Raza is a big name. Imam al-Raza in spirituality, even at that time, people knew that Imam al-Raza is a big name, an iconic figure at that time with regards to spirituality, and he wanted that figure of Imam on his side. He wanted to use the status of Imam to exalt the status of the regime of Banu Abbas. So he brought Imam close to himself, saying that if Imam is in his court and Imam is delivering a speech or having a discussion with someone or debating someone on an issue, or whatever Imam does, even with the people, when people will see that if the heir apparent is this good, how great would be the Khalifa himself. So that was one of the reasons. So he wanted to show that he has a remarkable and excellent heir apparent, and the common public would get an idea that if he's like this, then the Khalifa would be even greater. Read aloud salawat. After the istishhad of Imam al-Kazmi, now everywhere there is a discussion, what's happening? People are pointing fingers at the government. And then there is an issue where Harun al-Rashid passes away, and then his son Amin takes over, and on the other side Mamun takes over, and people are now losing trust in the government. And then all of a sudden what happens, that he kills his brother. He imprisons his brother and then he kills him. This causes great amount of, as you said, distrust amongst the people. So what he wanted to do is jumpstart the whole thing with this announcement that he now has a Waliul Ahad, a new heir apparent, and this would shock people and divert their attention from the actual issues to this new development. That was the fifth reason. And then there was also the sixth reason would be that he also wanted to let people know that he is serious about the change. Things are changing in the government. People should have some faith in the government. He wanted to change things. So he was so serious about this change that he even killed his own brother to bring that change. And he is even willing to bring an outsider into the government and promise the Khilafah to that person. He is that much concerned about the well-being of public that he would go to such extent that he kills his brother, to such an extent that he offers what is very dear to any ruler, a Khilafah, to someone else. So that being the sixth reason. The seventh reason was, there were many people. There were uprisings, the Alawi uprisings, and people from other factions were trying to, or protesting against the government at that time, and he wanted to let them know that our system, the whole system, is changing. The whole structure of government will change, and you won't, there is no need for anybody to be the part of the government, because these factions were actually at that time suggesting that if you want us to stop these uprisings and stop these protests, you should have one of our members close to the Khalifa and be a part of the Khalifa's circle, so they can have some influence on the government and represent their people wherever they are. To which he wanted to let these people know that no, the whole structure is changing. We don't do that anymore. We don't do that anymore. We have a new structure. I am so willing to make things right that I have even allowed the Khilafah to go to a person outside my family. So this being the seventh reason. The eighth reason is the spiritual acknowledgement. He knew that no matter how much power he had, people would never acknowledge him as a spiritual leader unless he provided a strong enough reason to them to bring them to the realization that the government is working on spirituality. The government is working to spread the teachings of Islam. And that was better done by Imam Raza alayhi salatu wasalam. So he brought Imam Raza inside to let people know that we're working on spirituality. Our motto is to spread the teachings of Islam. Because being Khalifa is not, for him, he wanted to let people know that it is not just about me being a ruler or a tyrant. It is the responsibility of a Khalifa, Khalifatul Masih. He wanted the people to call him Khalifatullah. And if you want to become Khalifatullah, for that there has to be some spirituality that comes with it as well. So he wanted, for that reason, he wanted Imam Raza close to the government, so that Imam Raza can bring that amount of spirituality, and he can work on other things. Recite aloud salawat. Now there are other reasons as well where he has problems with his own tribe, his own family as well. Having his brother Amin killed. His cousins were now distraught. They were saying that how could you kill a person? And they wanted to take over the Khilafah at that time. So he used this notion as a threat to them, that I am joining hands with the Alawis, and I have Banu Hashim with me, and I have made Ali ibn Rida my heir apparent. If you make any move against me, I will gather them, have them join me, and then wage a war against you and finish you, and when we're done, I will give the Khilafah to Alawis. This was a threat. He wasn't going to do it, but this was used as a threat. So these are the reasons, one of many reasons that ulama have gathered that this is why he wanted. So all of it was political. All of it was political. He had no sincere concerns regarding the well-being of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salatu wassalam. Yes, he was quite well learned at that time. He even Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam, when he describes the Khulafa of Banu Abbas, he says أولهم أرأفهم وثانيهم أفتقهم. He describes all of them and says وسابعهم أعلمهم. The seventh amongst these Banu Abbas, the Khulafa of Banu Abbas, will be the most knowledgeable amongst them. So Ma'mun was the seventh one, and he was most knowledgeable. He would have these debates with people, and he would beat them at those debates. He was known for his knowledge, and the munadhara that everybody has heard of and read about, the most famous one, it happened at the time of Ma'mun, and in his presence it happened. So his attraction toward knowledge was to help himself, or use this knowledge to make his khilafah more strong. So these are one of the many reasons. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I know this must be very boring for you, but these things should be discussed so the youth, or our youth, can understand what is happening and what has happened, and apply those things in our time as well. When somebody shakes hand with you or offers you something very precious, you need to think what the reasons are behind those things. What you have now with regards to spirituality, can it be traded with something, or should it be traded with something? Is there anything out there that is more precious than your own spirituality? All these things should be taken into consideration, and one should understand and learn from the teachings of Ahlul Bayt and the seerah of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salatu wassalam in a way that he actually applies those teachings to his own life and his own surroundings and the society that he lives in. tough was the time of Imam al-Raza, he is not just known as Gharib. He is known as Gharib al-Ghuraba. Gharib is a traveler who is in a place where he does not have any relatives around him. He's away from his home. The farthest amongst Ahlul Bayt, we have Amir al-Mu'mineen in Najaf, which is far away from Medina. Where Imam al-Hussein, he's a Gharib. He's far away from Medina, he's in Karbala. We have Imam al-Kazmi, far away from Medina, he's in Kazmain. We have other Imams in Kazmain, in Samarra, far away from their home. They're all Gharib as well. But the farthest is Imam al-Raza alayhi salatu wasalam. Tus was very far at that time. Tus was very far at that time, and with other Imams, they had the chance to bring their families with them. They may have a chance to bring their families with them, but with Imam al-Raza, when he passed away, he was alone. He had no one with him, no family with him. That is why he did a very strange thing when he left Medina. When Mamun forced him to leave Medina, he did a very strange thing. Before leaving, he asked his family members to have a Raza in his name. Have a Majlis in his name. Sit all together and cry on me, he says to his family members. Sit and cry on me, so the people can hear you and they will come and they will ask what is happening. But the narrations say that not many people came and asked. These are the people of Medina, the same people at the time after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam passed away. These were the people inside their homes, and on the door knocking was Sayyida Fatima al-Zahra salamullahi alayha. She would knock at the door. People would know who is at the door and they would not open the door. And whoever would open the door would then deny her her request. These are the same people. So Imam leaves, and now Imam is invited for the last time at the court of Ma'mun. There is no one around, and Imam knows where he's going now, and Abu Salt al-Harbi is with Imam, and Imam says that I'm going inside. If I come out with the shroud around my neck, you can approach me and talk to me. But if I come out and I have my head covered with that shroud, I want you to remain very quiet, do not approach me and do not talk to me. And Imam al-Raza, he goes inside, and now this la'een is sitting. And he offers Imam a bunch of grapes. He has marked which grape in that bunch is poisoned. So he's eating from the same bunch. He knows which one is not poisoned, and he offers the others to Imam. And Imam, first he denies that I will not eat. First he says that I will not eat. And then being forced. There are many reasons. Being forced, Imam had to eat 1, 2, 3. And then Imam stood up immediately. And Mamun says, where are you going? And Imam says, wherever you sent me. I'm going wherever you sent me. Madlum Imam, there is no one with him at that time. He's alone in a place where his family is not with him. Alone, he starts to walk outside, and he covers his head before he comes outside. Abu Salat says, I saw the Imam come out. I decided to rush towards him, but I noticed that his head was covered. I did not go near him. I let him walk, and he quietly went to his house. He entered, and when I came close to him at that time, he says, "Stay out here, do not let anyone come in." Abu Salat says that I was there and I heard the sound coming from inside. I knew that there was no one inside the house, and no one passed me, and there is no other way to go inside. He says that I immediately opened the door and I went inside, and I saw a small boy. And I asked him, "Where did you come from? Who are you?" He says, "I am Muhammad ibn Ali al-Jawad, and I am your 9th Imam. And I have come here with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with i'jaz. Whenever an Imam, a Ma'soom passes away, the only person who can give ghusl to a Ma'soom, a kafan to a Ma'soom, is a Ma'soom. And that is why I have come here to give ghusl and kafan to my father, Imam Raza." And I say at that time, "Ya Imam, I know it is very hard to be far away from your home and not being able to see your family, but look at it. Look how quickly your son comes to your rescue. He stays with you. He gives you ghusl and he gives you kafan. All of this done is in a peaceful manner. See what's happening in Karbala. My salam to Imam al-Sajjad, who comes to the body of his father Imam al-Hussein on the 11th of Muharram, and he is tied in shackles. He is tied in handcuffs, and he looks at the body of his father, and he cannot control himself. He had to leave the body of his father. It wasn't just the body of his father. There were the bodies of his brothers. There were the bodies of his uncles. There were the bodies of his cousins. There were the bodies of ashab of Imam al-Hussein. And all of them, they did not have a head on their body. Of cloth on their bodies, and their bodies were filled with wounds, covered in blood, just lying there in the burning hot sand of Karbala. Imam al-Sajjad had to leave this and go to Kufa and go to Sham. The third day, the narration said, the third day Imam al-Sajjad comes to Karbala with the power of i'jaz, with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is at that time that he buries his father. How do you bury your father when he is cut into pieces? You collect the piece from there. You collect a piece from here. You try to bring the veins together. You try to cover the body. You pick up those bodies who are not in a proper shape. Come to the body of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas. Those who have visited the shrine of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, if you go see the grave of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, it is a very short grave. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas was a very tall person. Ulama have given the tafsir of this. Ulama say that when Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas came down from the horse, he did not have any arms. The ashqiya rushed towards him and started hitting him with the sword. His lower body was cut into pieces. I wonder how his body was collected by Imam Sajjad. It is not being sajjad. It is not easy being sajjad at that time. I wonder how he managed to see his Auntie Zainab, Auntie Kulthum, Sister Fatima Kubra, Sister Sakina, the Banat of Rasulullah without hijab in the court of Ibn Ziyad La'il. How did he manage to see them in the bazaar of Sham, where he cannot help himself and say, Ya laytani lam talidni ummi. I wish my mother had not given birth to me. That way I would not have seen what I see today. My Auntie Zainab, Kulthum, Rumam al-Sakina, Fatima Kubra do not have rida on their heads. There is a crowd of people. Someone is throwing stones. People on the roof are throwing hot water. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. ما في حسين.